I'm out speaking at an event, but I did want to get one of these done, and I want to clear up probably one of the larger misunderstandings in American healthcare. When people hear that a hospital is either for-profit or non-profit, they automatically have these assumptions, right? They assume that if it's not for-profit, that means that hospital has no profit, there's no surplus or running in the black, and there's no financial gain whatsoever. That's not actually what not-for-profit means, and I think we need to understand what it really means so that we can better address when we hear people say, well, this hospital's not for profit, I want to go there. A lot of healthcare behaviors suddenly will make a lot more sense when we understand what nonprofit means, because it doesn't mean that the organization can't generate revenue above expenses, because it does, number one, if it wants to be sustainable, but it absolutely can. Remember, hospitals are still billing insurance providers. They're still collecting payments from members, negotiating contracts for MA and ACA and group plans, and they generate operating margins so that they can be sustainable. The difference is not whether they make money or not. The difference for a nonprofit hospital or setting is what happens to the money once they bring it in. So a nonprofit hospital doesn't distribute the profits to shareholders like you're going to find in a for-profit company, right? And let's go ahead and get down to the basics of not-for-profit and for-profit are not evil just by name. The surplus that they have must be reinvested back into their facilities, their staffing, the technology they use, whether they're expanding or not, and different programs that they fulfill in the community. So nonprofit status then is about who the ownership of the actual structure is. It's not about whether the hospital or entity performs financially. And even as nonprofits, the hospitals still have to operate inside a very real economic system. They still manage their payer contracts. They still look to optimize reimbursement from payers or plans, expanding services and acquiring new physician groups, and they do compete against other nonprofit hospital organizations and for-profit hospital organizations, because if they can't maintain their financial stability, then they cease to exist. They can't even operate at all at that point. Now, healthcare ultimately should be mission driven, but it's still capital intensive, right? You still have to survive. You've got buildings that you need paid for and equipment to build those buildings and staff in those buildings and keeping up with compliance and technology. Hospitals require quite literally enormous financial resources to run. So financial strategy then for a nonprofit hospital isn't like some optional thing where they can run in the red for the rest of their life. They have to survive. Now, another myth that people assume about the not-for